Welcome to our second meeting for the month of August, City Council. If I could get everybody to stand, please. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Josh Cortez of Westfield Friends Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is Josh here? Kurt, would you like to bless this meeting, please? You're always my fallback.
Please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to gather this evening as a community to do your work in our community. Thank you for giving those in our community the voice to speak, and those that sit up here have the ability to make judgment and decisions with your guidance. In your name, amen.
Thank you, Kurt. Councilor Tam, President Tam, would you like to run the meeting, please?
Thank you, Mayor. May we note the presence of quorum?
John Dart, Joe Deppner, Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Here.
Victor McCarty,
Here.
Patrick Tam,
Here.
Kurt Waninger.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Next order of business is approval of minutes from our previous meeting. Assuming everyone's had the opportunity to review those, we need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor McCarty, seconded by Councilor Huff. See no other discussion. May we call the roll?
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waninger.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next order of business is the approval of claims docket. Assuming everyone's had the opportunity to review those, we need a motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion to approve the claims as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waninger, seconded by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waninger,
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. We do have some three changes to the agenda this evening. Resolution 26-147, the fiscal plan for ordinance 2643, the Eagle West annexation, as well as ordinance 2643, the Eagle Creek West annexation. The petitioner has withdrawn for a later meeting. We anticipate that will come forward at a later meeting while the petitioner gathers some additional data. 2647 will be tabled for our next council meeting. 2647 is amending the traffic regulations of the city of Westfield, Indiana. Frankly, the city and the council in particular is further evaluating data and standards as this will apply citywide, but do anticipate that to be voted on at the next council meeting as well. Do we have any residents that wish to address the council? Director Todd.
Yeah, I have several cards this evening.
Great.
First one is Chris Badger.
Well, this is on it. Yeah, if you have signed up, this is really the time period for public comment, regardless of what the topic is, unless we just remove something that. Okay.
If you're here representing.
Are you here for the
petition,
public
you
hearing
don't need to
piece?
sign up. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Next is Laura Foltz. So that's actually number one now.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Mrs. Foltz, before you start, just want to remind people, for public comment, it's 3 minutes.
Okay.
However, it's not really a Q&A, but we're here, and then you can also send us additional information as well. But we welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Laura Foles, and I'm speaking tonight as a Westfield parent, an educator, and a PTO member at Monon Trail. And I spend a great deal of my time thinking about the safety of our kids. I understand that the recommendation for 35 miles per hour on Tomlinson Road is based on 85th percentile speed, while I respect the data, I think we need to be careful about what that data is actually telling us. The rule of 85% tells us how drivers are currently behaving, and it does not by itself tell us what speed is safest for our particular community. Tomlinson is not an average road. An elementary school, a daycare, a preschool, all sit along this corridor. Homes and neighborhoods back up to it. Children walk and bike here. Families use golf carts throughout this community. And these aren't exceptions to how this road is used. They're part of its everyday environment. The Federal Highway Administration guidance recognizes that prevailing speed is only one consideration when establishing an appropriate speed limit. Pedestrian activity, surrounding land use, roadway characteristics, and crash history matter too. And 5 miles per hour matters. Federal stopping sight distance guidance increases from approximately 200 feet at 30 miles per hour to 250 feet at 35 miles per hour. That is roughly 50 additional feet needed to perceive a hazard, react, and stop. When the unexpected hazard is a child, "50 feet matters." As an educator, I teach children that when we have new information, we learn from it and make better choices. As a PTO member, I believe advocating for our students' safety cannot stop at the doors and rest only on the shoulders of our school administrators and personnel. As a parent, I'm asking you to consider what we are prioritizing when the difference we are debating is just 5 miles per hour. We cannot change what happened to Graham, but we can decide what we learned from it. The 85th percentile can help tell us how people are driving the road today, and you have the opportunity to decide how we ask them to drive it tomorrow. So I'm asking you that you change the speed limit to 30 miles per hour. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Stidham. Stidham, my apologies.
Good evening. As you know, I'm Chris Stidham, father of Graham. I was here with you 2 weeks ago. Before I get started, I just want to let you know I do have to leave in the middle of the council meeting. One of our children is at soccer practice, and so I didn't want you to think I was getting up out of disrespect. It was just I got to go get him at some point. But Rachel is also here as well. Honestly, 2 weeks ago, I thought, come in, speak, explain why 30 miles an hour made sense, presented some data, talking about survivability, and I really never expected it to turn into this. I didn't think there would be a whole lot of back and forth. I thought it was kind of like a no-brainer. That's okay. I understand the process. I understand the council has to go through its process. The mayor has to go through his process. I respect that completely. So went back, took in the feedback from listening through the public or the council members' comments in debating the ordinance 2 weeks ago, and then followed up sending each one of you an email talking about how we got to 30. It wasn't a number I just picked out of the air, why it made sense from a survivability standpoint, as the speaker in front of me just indicated, stopping distances, for a variety of reasons, why the 85% rule is antiquated and not recommended for city use. It was developed for rural highways, how IIHS and all these other organizations look at speed limits. Provided a whole series of data, and I understand it's a different data, but it's data nonetheless. It's data to talk about the residential uses along that road. It's data to talk about the sidewalks. It's data to talk about Chatham being split and the clubhouse usage going back and forth across that road. Those are all data points. So this isn't about purely emotion. Certainly it's emotion and it's what happened that got us here today. It certainly gave Rachel and I a completely different perspective. But changing the speed limit isn't going to do anything to bring Graham back. So we're not doing this for our own personal selves. We're doing this because we don't want anyone to ever feel like what we have felt over the past 2.5 months. And so that's why we're advocating for this. There are problems throughout the city. One of the things that I had presented was, okay, if we don't want to do a hodgepodge, let's take a step back and look at speed limits throughout the city. There's a speed limit that goes 30 miles an hour, increases to 35 miles an hour in front of a complex of apartments, and then reduces to 30 miles an hour immediately following the complex of apartments. So we're talking about a 5 mile an hour bump up in speed over a less than 1,000 foot span of roadway. There's things like that throughout the city. Tomlinson, south of 191st, is 30 miles an hour. 191st going into Tomlinson, 30 miles an hour. So this isn't just us up here advocating random things. It's all based on data. And so I'm very grateful to the mayor and the administration for everything that they've done. It's been wonderful. And I'm grateful to the council for giving the opportunity for us to speak. And I understand I'm going over my time, so I'll wrap it up. And I appreciate the council continuing to work on this. I appreciate the council taking time, not rushing through this, tabling this so that we can do this the right way, because we all understand once we make one speed limit change, then that's it. That speed's not going to get changed again. So I don't like the idea of it's at 40, we want it at 30, so let's compromise on 35. You don't compromise on safety. Either 30 is safe or it's not. And so I appreciate the council allowing me to speak. We have quite a few members of the public that we invited can everyone stand if you're here about this issue? Not all everyone is signed up to speak, but we just wanted to point out this isn't just me as a father, Rachel as a mother. This is the community asking for greater pedestrian safety everywhere in Westfield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel Stidham.
Right, mine will be a little bit more emotional. He can keep it together. I'm here tonight because after weeks of advocating for a reduction, we have continued to get a lot of pushback. Respectively, 35 is not good enough. It's not. Okay, I get it. You guys haven't lost a child, I have. And it's because she was going fast, faster than I think in front of a school you should go, in front of a thoroughfare with what Laura had said, with a preschool and a school and a huge neighborhood on both sides. There is breaks in the system that need to get fixed because it's gonna happen to somebody else. I don't want it to happen to someone else. Everybody else doesn't either. I understand that compromise is part of the government process, but sometimes compromise means meeting in the middle, and sometimes it means recognizing that one side is asking for something because the stakes are simply too high to settle for anything less. We aren't gonna settle for above 30. We're not. So we're gonna keep coming back. We're gonna keep picking a fight, I guess, is what you wanna call it. I don't think that we're fighting, I think that we're advocating. My 7-year-old son, Graham, was killed on Tomlinson this summer. I've spent these last several weeks talking to you guys about it, talking to the mayor about it. My husband has expressed his concerns. I'm not asking you to close the road. I'm not asking you to do something completely unreasonable either. It's 5 miles per hour, less than you guys are agreeing or think that that makes sense. You've heard our concerns, you've heard our arguments for 30, and now you're offering 35 as a compromise, but my son's death is exactly why I don't believe that compromising is something that I'm going to do. If we already know that 40 is too fast, then I don't understand why 35 is simply easier to agree on. 5 miles per hour sounds small, but it could be life and death. I've experienced the death part. So I'm asking you guys to reconsider that 30 miles per hour could save someone else's life, an adult, a child, a golf cart. It's been made quite clear by someone that isn't here tonight that it would be easier to consider 30 if it was in respect to golf carts. That's insulting I will tell him that personally. I just would like you guys to really think about this, please.
Thank you.
Emily Ralph?
Okay, may it please the council, is the clock starting? No? Okay. As some other people mentioned, we learned yesterday that the Tomlinson Road speed limit proposal was likely being tabled to gather more data. And, you know, just decisions affecting our children's safety really belong in an open session, and you all know that. And really, we ask that you follow the spirit of the open door laws at all times by not having outside discussions and agreeing to what you're going to vote on before you get to a meeting. We want to see you deliberating, and we have a right to hear that. You know, the idea that you need more time is just false, because we know that in October of 2025, a concerned parent warned the engineering department about heavy pedestrian traffic on Tomlinson and 196th. And the response was that without sidewalks, a crosswalk couldn't be placed. So really, there's been a 10-month head start before this accident, and the city hasn't done anything. Now, sidewalk construction won't begin until at least late fall on a crosswalk. And while we beg for safety, the public ledger exposes this city's priorities. Official dockets reveal nearly $500,000 was smoothly pulled from the facilities budget for an incentive package to bring Live Golf here, including $1,500 a head ticket perks for council members themselves. And if this city can find $500,000 to subsidize corporate golf, I think it can find resources to protect our kids. Corporate incentives do not fix the light on Tomlinson Road School that is broken before school starts, and luxury ticket packages do not protect children when they're crossing a street. So the double standard is staggering. Before school started, as I mentioned, the city knew the northbound flashing school zone light on Tomlinson Road was broken and failed to fix it. And because we don't have a crosswalk, my daughter catches a bus at 6:48 a.m. to ride for a full hour just to get a mere half mile away, because we can't walk to school safely. The worst thing I think about this is that there's a rushed basic speed study that has been proposed to inform your vote today, as someone else mentioned, using an outdated 85th percentile rule that evaluates reckless commuters over student safety, and really ignores the collector roads should be 30 miles per hour under the city's own master thoroughfare map. I think that today I just want to leave us all that Graham's tragedy is all of our tragedies, and everybody who came here today feels that it was a tragedy. We want a reasonable response by the city that errs on safety and not outdated engineering that doesn't incorporate pedestrian traffic, most importantly. Besides the people here today, we've organized 870 residents who signed a petition demanding a permanent 30-mile-per-hour limit on Tomlinson Road. So just want to leave, somebody said before the meeting, thanks for all their voices today and thanks for us making decisions. I think that you got that wrong. I think that your role is to represent our voices and represent the 870 people. I'm sorry Joe's not here tonight, but we have a quorum. There's a saying, do the right thing, and I think you know what that is.
Council President, it's been 3 minutes.
Thank you.
The last card I have at the moment, Sophia, I apologize if I get this wrong, is it Arazi?
Hello, my name is Sophia Rossi. I am 8 years old. A few months ago, my mom told me the worst news ever. My friend Graham sadly died near my school playground. Graham was a true friend. He was always kind. He was always honest. My friend died because the road was unsafe. I can't sit next to him anymore on the bus. I can't hug him anymore. We can't play soccer, ride scooters, or paint together anymore. It is not fair that Graham is gone. It makes me sad and angry. I cannot bring him back, but I can be brave today. I am here to tell you to do your jobs. I am a kid. I do not know how to fix a big road, but you are the adults. Your job tonight is to vote to make kids safer. You need to protect his family and protect all of us. No adult reason is more important than my friend's life. I just want to cross the street and play without being scared. We will not stop talking to you until you make this road safe. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
No more cards.
All right, before we move on, just to address, we're not going to dive into the X's and O's of comments. We never do. But I just want to update because we got people here who are concerned and want to know, why are we pushing this back? We're just looking at it from as many angles as we can. So we've engaged a couple more engineering firms to look at the data without weighing in our opinion, to get their opinion. And when we come back, to present to you all, the one thing that has been missing through this all is the actual police report. We're waiting on that data to come back. There's a forensic piece to that takes time to put it together. We think it will be done by the next meeting. So the chief of police or the detective who led this investigation will come and brief you all on the very specifics of the crime or the police report of the accident. We have access to federal highway standards around setting speed limits. We're going to do that right here in a public setting, up on the screen so everybody can see. We're going to enter the data that it requires. And folks, it's not just the 85th percentile rule. I'll say it again. There are many pieces to this that we're looking at. We will enter in all those data, and it will kick out the speed limit live so you all can see it. And then we're just also going to share with you testimonials from those engineering firms with their perspective on it. We want to bring absolute transparency. We're not back here scheming, try to find a random number. There is rhyme and reason to what we do. And we just want to make sure before we make this decision that we're making the right decision. Because I think Mr. Stidman said it well. Once you've set that speed limit, it's not an easy thing, as you're all seeing, to just go out there and apply a new speed limit to it. So we just want to be thorough. Council wants to see the data as well. And I just think it's important that we dot every I and cross every T before we do this. So that's what's going to happen. We do think it will be the next meeting. The crime report's what's slowing it down. But I have been in contact with the Stidman family, and I will continue to let you guys know how we're progressing so you can let your network know as well. And with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have a special quick presentation this evening with Chief Keene as it relates to kids going back to school and additional enforcement as well.
Mr. President, members of the council, Sean Keene, Chief, Westfield Police Department. I will give you a brief update on what the mayor just discussed that I just received a couple minutes ago. The only thing we're waiting on to finalize the reconstruction report is a search warrant that was served to Verizon for data as far as location data. That's the last piece of it. The reconstructionist is informing when she has that, she can complete her report. So that's the only thing we're waiting on. So that's the update I have on that. As far as I was asked to provide you a brief kind of synopsis of last week, the first week of school, and some of the, with that transition back to school and pedestrian traffic, what we've encountered from the police department. Beginning with some of the challenges we had, beginning with Midland Crossing Elementary. As this was, a new school and wholly untested as far as the traffic pattern, as we expected, changes were needed after the first few days. What I've been told now, we're going to change that. Working with the school, they intend to change the inbound route to the south entrance of the school to try to take some of that congestion off of Town Road. That's expected to alleviate some of it. Also, tomorrow I was informed the crosswalk should be open, so that should help with some of the pedestrian traffic. We are also aware, as has been discussed earlier tonight, that the northbound Tomlinson Road flashers by Monon Trail is not working, and it's in the process of being replaced. We have already been providing extra patrols to that stretch of roadway, and we'll continue to do that while we wait for that repair. In addition to our SROs in the school and the additional officers and school staffing directing traffic in and out of the schools, our officers conducted 25 directed or school-related patrols last week, another 46 foot patrols, and 48 proactive calls to monitor school zones for traffic enforcement. We also utilized our social media to remind drivers that school is back in session and some of the potential dangers for students. And for some of those that maybe didn't see that messaging, our officers also conducted 157 traffic stops last week. So that's the update I have for you for the first week of school. Like I said, some of the traffic patterns, especially the new school now, is being worked out. We expected some issues with that, but after the first 4 days now, I'm told tomorrow we'll change that pattern, at least the school will, into the facility from the south. That should alleviate some of the traffic. So I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have regarding last week and the first week of school.
Chief, I know there's issues in my district, unfortunately, it's senseless too, is that people passing school buses with stop arms fully extended. I know the department's been helpful about that in enforcement and frankly, standing with kids at school bus stops and tailing school buses, and frankly, pulling over cars that decide to pass school buses. Are we going to be able to do that? I mean, you've always responded when I get a call, but I would encourage others in the public really to do that. It's the most infuriating thing you've ever seen with school buses. I don't really understand it, but have we seen that already last week? I know it was just a couple days, but.
I've not got a large report of that type of activity in last week. Most of the concerns that we've had has been the traffic patterns around
Traffic pattern around Midland, yeah.
Specifically, yeah, Midland.
Any other questions or comments this evening? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Resolution 26148 is on old business this evening, which is a fiscal plan for ordinance 2644, which is the preserve at Cool Creek Phase 5 annexation. Mr. Collingwood.
Yep, thank you, President. Members of the council, good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. The item before you was a 100% voluntary annexation request for the land described within the 5th phase of the preserve at Cool Creek annexation process, brought forth via ordinance 26-44. This will fully execute the annexation procedure for the subject project that has been throughout the year as well. The total compiled annexation area for this last phase is 28 acres in size. Proposed parcels to be annexed are on the south side of East 191st Street, seen in the location map. This item was introduced and heard at the August 10th council meeting and is up for adoption consideration this evening. Thank you. Let me know if any questions.
Thank you. And then at the same spirit, with the resolution 26148, we'll also consider that Mr. Collingwood's presentation, if you will, for ordinance 2644 as well, since they go in tandem. Any questions for Mr. Collingwood on these two matters?
So we don't expect any capital expenditures over the next 4 years on any of this, as shown in this?
I believe Mr. Skelton is online. Matt, do you mind answering that?
That's from the city, capital expenditures from the city side.
In the fiscal plan you're talking about?
Yeah, I believe, yeah, it has them in there.
I'm happy to I'm happy to comment, Ryan. I'm not sure I understand the question. If it's
so
directed
the
towards
city in the resolution, the city is showing a 4-year expense plan for capital improvements as $0 by the city. So I was just making sure that we don't see any unexpected costs, capital costs coming from the city on road improvements, infrastructure, any of that type stuff. That's what I'm getting at.
I believe this
and so I
go ahead.
Yeah, and I can tell you, just generally speaking, I mean, the construction, we are hoping to begin the infrastructure installation early next year sometime. And then we have maintenance bonds that will be in place for a period once everything is finished and the city accepts it.
we record our secondary plat, and then there's a 3-year period it's a maintenance period where we have bonds in place in case something that has been inspected and approved by the city doesn't stay the way it's supposed to be for a period of 3 years. So I am unfamiliar with, I did not prepare this report, but I can tell you the city's definitely covered over, the next probably at least 4 years. And so I can't imagine after we've installed everything, I think it's a pretty reasonable assumption that the city's not going to be expending money on infrastructure that is 1 year outside of a maintenance period.
And I think this table 4 for Exhibit 3 is traditionally zeroed out, I believe. I think in previous contexts, I think I got a question from Councilor Dart previously. And I believe this is just usually the table that's associated with these annexations.
These are all just normal costs associated with development that are incurred by the developer, if that helps.
Okay, yeah, it was just a question. Yep.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments this evening? This resolution 26-148 is eligible for adoption this evening. To do so, we need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve Resolution 26-148.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor McCarty, seconded by Councilor Waniger. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Victor McCarty?
Yes.
Patrick Tam?
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger?
Yes.
Noah Herron?
Yes.
Chad Huff?
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
Next order of business is ordinance 2644, the Preserve at Cool Creek Phase 5 annexation. We need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 26-44 for the Preserve at Cool Creek annexation.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other discussion, may I call the roll?
Patrick Tam?
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger?
Yes.
Noah Herron?
Yes.
Chad Huff?
No.
Victor McCarty?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Next order of business is ordinance 2646, authorizing and approving additional appropriation from the operating balance of the general fund and police department budget transfer. I believe we have Danielle Carey Tolan. I think she's outside the door. If somebody can grab her, that would be fantastic. Chief Keen, I think you could probably talk about your own budget anyways. So.
I know this has already been addressed.
Yes.
Again, Sean Keen, Chief, Westfield Police Department, last meeting. Is there any questions that have arisen? I'm happy to answer anything.
I do not, but any from council? And I do think we have a gentleman here. We do need to conduct a public hearing this evening. And Mr. Badger, you're here for this, correct? Thank you. We're going to go ahead and open up the public hearing at 7:33 this evening. Mr. Badger, you can come on right up. Okay, I thought you were here for the actual public hearing piece. I'm sorry. I was trying to make sure I got to you. Fair enough. Fair enough. The public hearing was opened. Now we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:34 p.m. I was actually really excited for a public hearing. I don't know if you can tell that. So that's fair. I was trying to figure out what you were going to say. At the same time, though, is there any comments from council? This ordinance is eligible for adoption this evening. We need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2647, authorizing additional appropriation from the operating balance of the general fund for the police department budget transfer.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Kurt Wanninger?
Yes.
Noah Herron?
Yes.
Chad Huff?
Yes.
Victor McCarty?
Yes.
Patrick Tam?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. New business this evening, we have Resolution 26-151, which is a declaratory resolution for the Wheeler Business Park Economic Revitalization Area. An SPWL, Westfield LLC, real property abatement. And Claire is back from maternity leave, so I get to say her last name and murder it.
You wanna try?
Claire Jelinas is is here this evening. I've been practicing.
left.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Claire Jelinas, Economic Development Strategist for the City of Westfield. So the resolution before you has two parts. The first part is a request to establish the Wheeler Business Park Economic Revitalization Area, or ERA. This will include Phase 1 and a future planned phase parcels for the Wheeler Business Park Industrial Project. As you can see on the screen, the yellow area on the map are the parcels that I'm requesting to be included in the ERA. And just as a refresher, the ERA designation is an economic development mechanism that allows the City Council to review and consider all real and personal property abatement requests located on these parcels outlined in yellow. Which kind of segues into the second part of the resolution. It's an incentive recommendation for the council's adoption consideration for the Wheeler Business Park Phase 1. That includes buildings 1 and 2 on the south part of the development in the right-hand corner here. So just a quick overview of the project for Phase 1. It includes 2 speculative buildings, which means that there's no end user identified at this point in time. Building 1 is 162,500 square feet. Building 2 is 33,800 square feet. And the developer plans to invest $21 million into both buildings for Phase 1 of the project. It will begin no later than October of 2026 and be substantially complete by December of 2028, and that includes both buildings. When I do mention the start date of this, it does include any site due diligence and necessary approvals for really vertical construction too. So you might not see walls up, on October 26th, but that means that they're still working towards that completion date. Failure to meet any of these requirements regarding the timeline is considered a breach of the developer's commitment and allows us to renegotiate incentives, and that's part of the resolution as outlined previously for historical projects that I've presented to you before. So we are recommending the council consider a 7-year real property abatement with a 10% step down that you can see on the bottom of the screen right there. Really, the reasoning behind this recommendation of 3 things. It remains competitive with other previously approved real property abatements for speculative buildings. It provides marketable incentive for the developer to attract tenants. And it offers really a balanced approach that provides enough incentive to support the project while also allowing the city to realize the full tax benefit sooner than a traditional 10-year structure that you may see in other communities. So, next slide. Really, it does create value for the community through increased assessed value from the existing base of $114,200 to a little over $16.6 million whenever it's complete, which leads to an estimated increase in annual real property taxes from today's number of a little over $1,800 to over $380,000. Which over a 10-year period totals to an approximately $1.97 million tax benefit to the city of Westfield. You can see the increase of year-over-year revenue on the abatement model that I've included on the slide, and that's based on today's numbers, so it is an estimation. Also, additionally, site-ready industrial opportunities do provide an increase in our real estate portfolio for projects and future job opportunities for community members and for future community members. And lastly, by investing in spec industrial development today, the city increases its ability to compete for future projects that may otherwise choose other communities. A built site demonstrates that the community is proactive, business-friendly, and prepared for economic growth. I always like to include in timelines for other industrial projects that you've seen before and how this project that I'm speaking on today kind of lays within those other timelines. So you can see that it'll come online when other things are coming offline and being built too, which is a really good opportunity for us to have more real estate in the portfolio continuously. And then, as always, I like to provide just some photos of other industrial projects across the city that you can see getting close. Beacon, they should be moving in pretty soon. South Park Shell Building, which is in South Park Industrial Park, is going up. And then Patch is really, really close to being completed too at North Point. So I want to invite Justin up here with Skinnell, just to give you an overview of Skinnell and add any other context for the project. Do you want your PowerPoint too?
So good evening. As Claire mentioned, my name is Justin Alashik. I work for Skinnell Properties, 8801 River Crossing Boulevard in Indianapolis. And I'm here to just provide some additional information, context on the planned Wheeler Business Park we have here in Westfield. So just real quick, don't want to dwell too much, but just a overall background on Skinnell Properties for those who are not familiar. Skinnell was founded in 1990. We are headquartered here in Indianapolis. We've grown to 11 North American offices, recently expanded into Europe, which don't ask me anything about that, I know nothing. Roughly 150 employees, so it went from a 6-person shop in 1990 to roughly 150 today. Throughout our history, we've completed 615 total projects. Last year, we did $1.2 billion in development volume in North America in 2025. And also like to point out, just we do give back to the communities that we build in, support 80+ charities, and want to be a part of the communities that we're developing in. Kind of going back to, again, just speaking to the total volume that Skinnell has done over the last 5 years, you can see, I don't think we'll ever get back to the days of 2021 and 22. That was a little bit crazy, but consistently over $1 billion in total developments. You can also see, BTS build-to-suit projects that have a specific end user already signed up prior to start of construction, and then just our speculative volume as well, where we're putting up the shell and trying to attract tenants. Other assets, we do have multifamily development, student housing, and fee deal type developments, but this represents the industrial product that we're proposing here. Again, hammer it home, the build-to-suits and the specs, we built all over. Just a representation of some of the clients we've built for nationwide. But specifics, why we're here, Wheeler Business Park Phase 1. So this proposed development's located within Area 4 of the Wheeler Landing Planned Unit Developments, just off of the intersection of Darktown Road and 181st Street, just north of State Road 32. Just some more specifics here. This Phase 1 development is a planned 3-building initial phase. We are partnering with the Wheeler family, who is remaining involved with this development, and we hope that with the success of Phase 1, it allows us to continue to expand further to the west and north with future phases. But Phase 1 specifically, Building 1 is the largest building you see there, roughly 162,000 square feet. We'd love to get started out there September of 2026 with a planned 12-month build there, roughly $15 million in investment for Building 1. Building 2 is on the south side of the east-west road there, right along Darktown. That is 33,800 square feet, flex office and industrial products. Planned start for that would be mid-summer of 2027. Again, a 12-month construction duration, roughly $6 million in private investment to construct that building. There is also a third building on the north side of the public roadway. Planned start there is July of 2029, and I will note that is not part of our abatement request at this time due to the roughly 3-year gap between now and when that one could start. I mentioned the Wheeler family is staying involved with this development. The reason why we're showing a July of 2029 start date there is Some members of the Wheeler family still occupy the 2 residences that building would go on, and as part of our agreement, we've given them the time to kind of plan out their next steps and find a new place to call home as the south side of the development undergoes construction. So this is a early rendering, just kind of showing how this would fit in the areas. It doesn't have a lot of the architectural details you'll see on the next couple sheets, but generally just shows how those 3 buildings would lay out. Kind of moving towards the building renderings, this is a rendering of Building 1, the largest building. You'll note the reddish color there. That is going to be stamped concrete brick look, precast concrete panels there, meeting the masonry requirements and architectural requirements of the city of Westfield. So, really sharp looking building. This isn't typical for an industrial product, but I think with the architectural requirements of Westfield, it does create a really attractive building and one that you're not going to see in a lot of other places. So just kind of wrapping up the community benefits of this development and why it should be considered for tax abatement tonight. It's a roughly $21 million investment by Skinnell Properties in the city of Westfield for the construction of Building 1 and 2. We say anticipated job creation of 50 to 70 new jobs. This is speculative, so we don't know those numbers as we stand here today. That is just based on past developments in the city of Westfield, as well as other developments we've done around Indianapolis, in Brownsburg, Greenwood, and other pockets of Indianapolis. This is what we would expect for a product of this size. In addition to the $21 million in private development, we are also constructing the east-west public roadway, utility extensions and public sidewalks, which is another $2 million investment in public improvements. Again, 1,300 linear feet of public roadway dedicated to the city of Westfield, extension of CEG water and sewer infrastructure along that right-of-way, construction of an 8-foot asphalt perimeter trail along Dartown Road, and an additional 5-foot concrete sidewalk along the south side of the new public roadway. And then as Claire's presentation indicated, even with tax abatements, Wheeler Business Park will continue to generate significant amount of property tax revenue for the city of Westfield, far exceeding the current real estate tax benefits received from the property. And with that, I appreciate everyone's time and consideration of this request, and I am here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments this evening?
The only question I got, more probably for Janelle and Kevin, are as far as this development, Kevin, a start date of October 29 with a starting
26.
or 26 with a September 26 date. This is already approved within a PUD, so this would just come to the APC as a consent agenda within the month of September.
At the latest, that would be September. That's right.
Okay. I just, at the October 2026 date's pretty close, so I was just, I don't want to set anybody up for failure.
Well, earlier, we just committed to September.
I know,
so-
I saw the September date, but I know how construction works too.
Yes,
So
we have been actively
in the approval
pursuing the approvals here. We are currently on the 9-9 Plan Commission consent agenda.
As long as everything meets the PUD requirements, it should be a slam dunk for a consent agenda item. So,
right.
okay, thanks.
Mayor, do you have a quick comment?
Just a quick comment. I just want to thank Skinnell for the architectural standards that you guys have brought with this project. We harp all the time. If you're a developer in the room and you do industrial, what was just presented is exactly what we're looking for in this community. And I just appreciate you guys. I know it's not inexpensive to do that, but I appreciate you guys' commitment to fitting in with what we're building here in Westfield.
When was this approved? Like, was this the Wheeler, 2017 PUD when all this was approved, or?
This PUD is very dated.
It's old.
Yep, 2018.
So like the Chick-fil-A and all that front-facing 32, it's all part of the same massive PUD. So this is going back
This is what our
2 or 3 councils
This is
ago.
what our comprehensive plan wanted in this area too then, or is this not really, or?
Back, there's before I was even on APC, so I can't, but yes. I
Not
mean,
then, I'm talking about our new comprehensive plan. This is what we want in this area. We don't want more of a commercial use. We want industrial going to Spring Mill and going up farther north.
Let me answer it.
You're asking the current?
I'm asking what the current comprehensive plan, like in an ideal, like, do we want?
The current
industrial?
comprehensive
Do we want to
plan-
encourage it with
yeah.
an abatement is kind of where I'm getting at.
Yeah, the current comprehensive plan, keep in mind on anything that we had was an active PUD, we conformed that comprehensive plan because we don't have the ability to strip anything from anybody. So yes, when you look at the comprehensive plan right now, it's exactly what it's contemplating, which aligns with the PUD. But if you're asking me how I feel about it today, if I could start over, yes. With the quality that they're bringing in terms of the architectural standards, we think that's a good use right there in that area.
So the PUD, this chunk of land, future development, that's all industrial planned. Or does the PUD say it can be mixed use, or it can be commercial? It just says all industrial.
I don't know exactly how it's phrased, but it's light industrial is what we had.
Oh, can somebody?
Realize though, to the front side, if the south side of this project is actually, which never came in front of the council, didn't need to because the PUD is a Walmart. So you also have other intense commercial activity immediately adjacent on the parcel immediately to the south.
Well, I get that.
Yeah.
I think Kevin's trying to figure out an answer to my question. This is just on our agenda, and I haven't heard about it until it was put on our agenda, and I haven't had any background info on it really. It's the PUD, old PUD. I haven't been able to research it, so I don't know the answer. So I was seeing if staff knew a little bit more. Just because I don't necessarily want to encourage industrial in this area with an abatement in my mind, because I'd rather it be something else. But obviously, it's already approved, so we can't stop that. But in my mind, I agree with the mayor too. The architecture is awesome. It's really well done. But do I want industrial in all that red right there when we try to encourage sports related, commercial, that type of stuff in this area? It's hard.
My department did not lead the comprehensive plan, but from my understanding, because as it exists today, there is an airport there. The best transition use was an industrial footprint, and it was approved in the PUD a long time ago, and so the comprehensive plan reflects that PUD.
Yeah.
So
and that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up because I was on council when a project failed in this area, just a little bit further from this location. And because there is an active airport there, the FAA got involved.
The retirement community.
Remember, I don't know if you remember that. It was pretty visible in the public. But the reality of it is there's certain types of uses that can interact with a live airport. And this is, we were told not only by the FAA, but from our own research that this is a great use around that. We don't have the authority. It's a private airport. I can't shut it down. We've expressed to the Wheeler family that over time, if they're committed to developing around this, that airstrip's in jeopardy, and they really need to think long-term about that. But beyond that, that's really about the only authority we have. But we feel like this interacts well with what's there.
So this doesn't go to the Spring Mill. This stops before that, right? That's okay.
So Noah, to answer your question about use, so this is identified in the Wheeler Landing PUD as Area 4. And in that area, things like engineering, research, and testing laboratories, retail special handling, which are things that are generally higher intensity or have a little bit of potential dangerous risk to them, like explosives and things like that. Potentially, industrial, light industrial, medium industrial, self-storage, warehousing and distribution, wholesalers, educational institutions with dorm accommodations, multi-story parking garage, and airport. Those are the permitted uses. So they're all kind of more industrial in nature than I think a traditional commercial district would have.
And just piggybacking off of that was everything already mentioned is what I was really going to highlight. I like to illustrate the history of an area. And again, this PUD is very vast. It goes all the way down from Portillo's up north to the Y, over to where the new PD headquarters is going to be, the new senior living, and now over here. And when you do look at the old 2018 Wheeler Landing PUD, this is earmarked. You can even see the conceptual drawings of buildings similar to this. And as Kevin just illustrated, it's all these uses that are permitted. And then just to go back to a prior question, Noah, within the current comp plan, it's kind of a orange-brown stripe. It is labeled as destination development / master plan mixed use, but a lot of, again, the uses that Kevin listed off within the place type chart are accounted for within that. So, and then just piggybacking on some, again, other comments, yes. Once more, to reinforce, with this having been approved by since 2018, it could have been much worse. Just you can look south of here, architecture-wise. And I told you when we met that I love the faux brick there. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions this evening? I do want to thank speculative buildings, the need for them. I turn over a lead, even myself as a counselor, about once every 6 to 7 weeks to neighboring communities because we do not have space. And it's infuriating to me that we do not have space, although Mayor Jensen likes me. But I don't want to be on Jensen's Christmas card list in spite of how much I do like him for giving him leads. I'd rather give them to Claire and Janelle and our whole team, but thank you for considering Westfield to build speculative buildings. I know there's some risk, but you're obviously pretty darn good at it, or you wouldn't be doing it. So we do appreciate that as well. This is eligible for adoption this evening. We do need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 26-151.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Woniger, seconded by Councilor Huff. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Noah Heron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Woniger.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. The next item of business is Resolution 26-155, the Common Council of the City of Westfield, Indiana, approving the Vino Mobile Bar as a designated permittee within the downtown Westfield outdoor refreshment area. Mr. Oliver, you're back.
Yes.
Good to
I know,
see you.
rare occasion. Thank you, President. Good evening, council members. For the record, Brandon Oliver with Community Development Department. The item before you, as you see, is resolution to include Vino Mobile Bar for a temporary DORA approval. They were scheduled for a Westfield City event and approved previously. That event got rescheduled, and so therefore we have to come back and ask for your approval again. If you have any questions, let me know.
I do not. It was just simply a new date, so we need to take action on that. It's already previously approved. This is eligible for adoption this evening. You need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve Resolution 26-155.
Second. We have a motion made by Councilor McCarty, seconded by Councilor Huff. Seeing no other discussion, may I call the roll?
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Woniger,
Yes.
Noah Heron.
Sure.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Noah. Ordinance 2642, the Town West Village PUD District. Lauren Gilliam Teague for an introduction.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. For the record, Lauren Gillingham Teague, Community Development Department. The petitioner and development team is here this evening with a detailed presentation, so I'll keep this somewhat brief. The item before you this evening is the introduction of the Town West Village PUD. This is an ordinance essentially repealing and replacing the existing Town West PUD, which was adopted in February of 2013. One of our oldest untouched PUDs. Subject real estate is approximately 94 acres in size, is located at the northeast corner of Town Road and 146th Street as shown. And it then extends from that corner to the east, up, and then slots in between the Liberty Ridge and Liberty Villa subdivisions. This district is anchored by a full-service grocery store. If you read the PUD, I'm sure you can figure out which one. It includes a mix of retail and lifestyle uses, as well as multifamily and townhome areas. Public hearing will be held at the September 9th APC meeting. Staff has received several comments on this item, which was provided to you just prior to tonight's meeting. I'm going to turn this over to the petitioner. Happy to answer any questions.
Good evening. Justin Moffitt, CEO of Old Town Companies, here on behalf of the development team for Town West Village. We have Polizzi and Associates, Mr. Steve Polizzi, who is the property owner, and Midland Atlantic Properties is the retail commercial developer partner, and then Old Town Companies is planned to be the master developer of this overall project site, and then will focus its efforts on what we think we do best are the residentially focused mixed-use placemaking initiatives. High Ideal, I had the opportunity to talk about at a grand opening, or groundbreaking rather, for a development downtown called Park and Poplar last week. But as a company, we really strive to develop places and spaces that encourage human flourishing. Really lofty goal, and our hope is that we create collision points in our placemaking initiatives so residents can have walkable amenities and connect with their neighbors. So what does this have to do with a grocery anchored retail center? I'm going to jump forward here in this PDF and show you the 2013 PUD. This is what we understood the project as when it was first introduced to us, and not something that Old Town typically gets involved with. It's just not our sweet spot. However, what we found in Midland Atlantic and Steve Polizzi were development partners that were really interested in this idea of creating a special sense of place. They had an existing framework for what was possible, and they said, not good enough, we'd like to partner with Old Town to create something really special here. So as we looked at the original ordinance, it really allowed for, and there are nuances that we'll get into as we go throughout this process, it allows for pretty much everything that we're proposing to do. We just want to organize it in a way that really is about, accessibility for residents to the amenities, logical flow, and then a really higher sense of quality and detail that goes into the built environment for all the commercial uses that were previously contemplated. The next slide in your packet, I'm not going to read, but it's just there, it's informational. But if you looked at that previous slide of what was allowed in the previous PUD, it really called for as much drive-through retail as you could fit on the site. There weren't limits on it. Use types that were really built around the car and not about pedestrian activity. And Old Town's goal in creating a sense of place, knowing that we are residentially focused, is a sense of experience in the built environment. And that's the quality of the building materials, but really specifically focus on the quality of the landscape architecture, and beyond that, the pedestrian access throughout the development. So we had this goal in mind from the beginning, that we'd create a new way of doing residential with commercial that really integrates both into one planned community. This is an aerial photo looking northeast, just kind of hovering over Town Road, looking northeast. Obviously, you see the big rooftop of a grocery, but as we get into the details, you'll see that we try to create more of an experience, and rather orienting the front doors of our development towards 146th Street, which is essentially a highway through our county. We focused on an internal experience so that the retail users would have more of a lifestyle center than traditional suburban retail. This yellow line's highlighting the perimeter of the site. It is not a path, it is not a sidewalk, it's just there to illustrate the perimeter of the site. Starting at the left, which is West Town Road, you'll see the roundabout in the bottom left corner. That district over there is, on the left side, predominantly retail. And as we move to the east, it becomes a mix of residential, commercial. And then as we move to the northeast, it becomes for sale residential that really fits into the context of the residential that's existing there. I'm going to walk through each section of the site individually, and just really high level focus on the intention of the design plan, and then at the very end, we're going to play a video, hopefully the tech works, to give you a sense of how this all comes together. Started with the grocery anchored centered here. Again, this is the more retail focused portion of the development, and you'll see that there's, rather than orientation towards 146th Street, like previously mentioned, more of a Main Street type feel down the center of the development, where we tried to orient our architecture and having front door architecture towards the interior of the development. What was really important to us was, again, the pedestrian experience, that it wasn't sidewalks as an afterthought, but it was wide pedestrian paths that connected the development from east to west, that assuming that we come up with a plan that our neighbors are agreeable to, that hopefully would even connect to the neighborhoods to the north and the east, so that they would have access to this development and have equal pedestrian access. You'll notice the large water feature. You're going to see some images here in a minute, but the goal is to really orient some of our outdoor dining spaces to use the natural environment that we're creating here. And we're still going to have some traditional retail. We're still going to have the possibility of a few drive-throughs. We're still going to have a possibility of a bank. Our goal was to drive design detail that made it exceptional as an experience, so that we can still pay the bills, provide services that residents of the community want, but have a higher level of experience than you would typically get in suburban development. I know we're going to focus on this detail at the planning level quite a bit the next few weeks and months. I want to affirm tonight that I think you'll see a logo in here for Kroger. Representatives of Kroger are here tonight, along with Midland Atlantic. I don't think we're going to get in that level of question tonight as an introduction, but we have been really thoughtful going back and forth with planning staff, hearing about expectations about the highest quality Kroger that could be possibly conceived for this site, and we found a good partner in Kroger willing to modify plans to accommodate. I will note here, in some of our conversations with neighbors already, a lot of sensitivity about circulation, trash, trucks, all that flow, and the sensitivity to the residential to the north. So ongoing conversations around that, making sure we hear all the neighbors' concerns. This graphic just further represents the character of the type of architecture and outdoor experience we would expect that this retail to embody. There's nothing like this that exists today in Westfield. We're taking old ideas, traditional suburban, retail complex. We're taking housing, mashing them together, and trying to, again, create this experiential residential mixed-use development. Character images of the water feature. Our plan, if we get into the detailed landscape architecture planning, to have paths that beyond the main street that we're showing through the middle site that interconnect to the surrounding neighborhoods and throughout our residential development, really engaging that waterfront as a feature for the planned food and beverage uses within the development. Town West Village Park area, again, a feature area that would be a public amenity that's oriented towards the water. It's almost a lake. It's a pretty sizable pond that will serve as stormwater for the development. However, we really want to amenitize it and make it a focus and a feature, a sense of place. In scale, what we have drawn here is similar to a project we co-developed in Carmel around Midtown Plaza, a place that could be a draw to host activities and events, movie nights, concerts, that sort of thing. We call it third place in the planning world, but a place for people to connect and gather and build connection with neighbors. On the other side of the large pond that I just referenced will be a multifamily development that Old Town will construct, a mix of product types between 2 stories and 3 to 4 stories in the larger buildings. We wanted to be context sensitive to the uses to the north, existing residential uses, and scale down our density and not have that height at the property line. So we're proposing a series of 2-story buildings at the property line, and then scale up to the higher, taller structures in the middle of development adjacent to the commercial uses. You'll see on the left here this pedestrian path that connects around the pond and to the north and to those paths, and then through the middle of the development here. Our goal is to create a beautiful sense of place with the landscape architecture and turn what is today a cornfield into a beautiful new place that for us provides a great experience for our residents. It helps our absorption rate of our product when we develop that wonderful experience. But long-term, it creates additional economic value for the community. Also note far right here, I'm going to show a picture of this. This is a amenity center that would be shared by all the residential uses within the development. This is a concept image, not final architecture, but a concept image of the larger scale building we would see. I'm going to jump backwards here one slide. These larger buildings here, more traditional apartment style buildings, double loaded corridors, but a majority of the product that we are contemplating is more of a flat or townhome style architecture, 2 stories with private garages for most of the product. It's something that Old Town Custom designed, and we've been very successful at and have yet to build it in Westfield, and really excited about the opportunity to do it at this location. This is more of a technical drawing. It's not the exciting image you'll see in the video here, but gives you a sense of scale of what those buildings would be at the property line that transition into the existing single-family residential density. Again, something really unique about this product type is that every unit has its own private garage, and our goal in developing this was to have a multifamily rental product that was attractive to a broad age demographic and lifestyle choice, and we have, again, been successful at other locations because it's unique in what it offers the consumer. I had pointed out in the site plan the proposed clubhouse. This is a character image of the scale of what we imagine. This is not final architecture, but this sets the benchmark for the minimum standard we would expect to deliver here. Fitness, gathering space, co-working is pretty typical in our development, and pool facilities that would share with the other residential uses. The commercial uses on this east side of the pond, and our thinking and our planning internally, really, we've been focused on what's west of the large pond and what's east of the large pond. So we see what's on the west side is more retail-focused commercial, not saying it couldn't be a general business, but predominantly retail-type uses are imagined. On the east side of the large pond, we see the potential for uses that might be more like medical office building. It doesn't preclude retail. It does preclude most driveway or drive-through type activity. A few use types are allowed, but it's really minimal. We would like to engage the water feature in the bottom left of the site plan over here, just off the screen, but that's the other side of the large water feature, large pond. We could see that being potentially attractive for a food and beverage type user or an entertainment type concept. But we see this as an area to attract daytime office users, small business. We're seeing, again, more and more office type use happen in Hamilton County, and we think this is a dynamic location that will create that draw for neighborhood office and hopefully a more robust tax base in this location. Additionally, again, over here far right, that's contemplated as a senior living facility. There's no partner yet, but in the sense of having a complete community that has a broad range of product types from for sale residential, for rent residential, senior living, we wanted to offer something that serves most needs found in the community, and having a walkable grocery is a beautiful addition to this plan. Final section here I'm going to cover is what we foresee is attached for sale residential, a mix of 2- and 3-story townhome types. In the previous iterations of the PUD, it allowed for 3-story residential and shown adjacent to the property line. In conversation with neighbors, we knew going into it that wasn't would be well received, And so we made a commitment up front that we would limit to 2 stories at the property lines. And so these purplish buildings here around the perimeter are noted as 2-story max, and then we transition to 3-story internal to the site. Again, for sale product contemplated, 2-car garages required in the PUD, and again, we think it's a complementary use to what we're doing with the multifamily and shared amenities as well. These are some character images of the minimum standard for the architecture. Nothing's planned yet as far as the building type. Our goal is to get through the PUD process and then really focus in on the design of the specific product, but wanted to put a placeholder here. In our neighborhood meeting, a lot of conversation, maybe primary conversation around buffering. And so just wanted to show these feature areas here on this north line and then this east line to the existing residential neighborhoods. Hard to tell in this exhibit, but for the record, this represents what we're doing on the north line. This 50 feet here is the average distance between the back of the existing homes to what is a HOA-owned common area, around 30 feet where there's an existing tree line that's really important to the neighbors and we see as a benefit to the community overall. That area would not be touched. We don't own it. We couldn't touch it. But in conversation, it came up that there is a preference for a fence that we would add at the edge of that. So it would create this visual effect that the residents adjacent to the north would have their existing backyards, then a 30-foot common area, then a fence, and then we would begin our programming with what we're showing is approximately a 40-foot buffer that's mounded. They would be heavily planted, and then our setback of 25 feet to our building face. So substantial setback from those units to 2-story to 2-story. So it's not that we have a 3 or 4-story building dominating, and then we have this robust buffer. It's 2-story to 2-story with the robust buffer. So we feel like we accommodated the concerns there. And then the east property line where, again, the north represents the multifamily separation. The east is the for sale to for sale, where we're really matching the condition. However, at the era the project to the east was built, our neighbor to the east, there wasn't a buffer yard requirement to install, so it really is a flat condition to our property line, where we're proposing that we do the mounding and buffering on our property. So really creating that buffer for both existing residential and our new residents. Very high level overview. Appreciate the time you've given me. I'm going to ask the staff to play the site plan video, and then we'll take questions from there if appropriate. apologize for the cheesy music choice. I didn't state this at the beginning, but we invested heavily in bringing on some of the top planners in North America, in my view, a group called LRK and a group called Dorsky U that focuses more on the retail side. These planners worked in a charrette format and really workshopped this, invited planning staff feedback throughout the process, and I really am proud of the work that's been generated to date. I know there's always room to improve it as we go throughout the process, so looking forward to council, planning commission, and public comment as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moffitt. Any questions, comments this evening?
I'd like to say just a few words if I could. I'll keep it quick, but I want to give some history on this one as well. Man, this was introduced probably my first year in office, a couple of years ago. And I want to commend Janelle and her team. I don't know if Janelle's here. Oh, there she is. There was a tremendous amount of pushback, and she was really being mean, quite frankly. She said, no incentives, no nothing until you give us what we think is the right development in this area. And then I want to commend the landowners and the developer who didn't do like a lot of them do and just force onto us what was approved many, many years ago. But they went back to the drawing table, and it took a long time, folks. I think 2 years this has been percolating and working on. I want to thank them for bringing Old Town and the partners they brought in, because this is a great development. Not saying it's perfect, but it's exactly what we've needed in Westfield for a long time. Restaurants, retail, no, not big box, not another Walmart, but retail and the kinds of place typing that our city lacks. And so I just want to say thank you for hanging in there. They didn't have to do this. We have too many examples of where we just get whatever was thought of 20 years ago. But I just want to say thanks to Janelle and her team for doing an amazing job. And thank you to the developers, the landowners, and Old Town for listening and being patient with this and bringing back what I think is an excellent project.
Any comments from council? This is my council district. There'll be some additional meetings after the workshop with residents as well. We have a couple residents in the audience this evening that have been in their house, but do look forward to continuing to work with Old Town and Mr. Paluzzi as well. Do want to say, though, many of the suggestions, comments, or concerns from residents are already being addressed, and I do want to thank Old Town for their consistent reception and willingness to always listen. Sometimes there's some interesting comments from some, but a lot of times, though, with Old Town, we're heard, we're listened to, and frankly, we find a greater project as well. The sense of community, the connectivity, and attention to architectural detail, though, is clearly shown. I am highly appreciative of that. This is an amazing corridor, not just in our county, but if you look at it from a national perspective, trying to make sure that 146th Street is truly maximized for the city of Westfield in this area is pretty important. But while we're also balancing connectivity and sensitivity to some area neighborhoods as well, which I do think with Old Town we do get heard and listened to. Today, you also saw some willingness from Outgrowth from a meeting with residents, and we also had some additional conversation, although Mr. Moffitt didn't say it exactly, about loading docks and so forth, which he did make reference to, which we're working through to make sure that that's addressed appropriately for residents as well. I do want to say, though, too, with conversations with Old Town for residents, there's a tree line on Thrive's property. That tree line's on Thrive's property. So I'm really saying that for those that are watching, listening, or here. That tree line continues, and that Thrive tree line will still be there, which actually I think makes the overall property even better, and so forth. There's some more additional details that we'll continue to work through. It will go to the APC. This is just the start of the process. And I'll look forward to continuing to work with all the interested parties. But the APC public hearing is scheduled at this time for September 9th, and we'll see where that goes. And then the speculative pieces are APC recommendation November 4th, and potentially back to the council on November 23rd. So look forward to continuing to work with you and I thank you for that continued partnership to do so. And I'm staring at a couple of my residents, so too, so I have to listen to all, so appreciate it. Thank you. We'll move on to ordinance 2648, the Westchester PUD amendment to the Cohut property. Mr. Collingwood.
Thank you, President, council members. Again, for the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. This item is being introduced this evening for its first reading as the Westchester Planning Development District Amendment. Subject real estate associated with this amendment will encompass about 1.9 acres and is generally located on the south side of West 161st Street. The PUD request outlines the allowance of one single-family home to be constructed on the subject parcel. As this area of the Westchester PUD was initially contemplated as a common space area, a single-family home is not permitted to be constructed on the parcel today. This petition is in front of the City Council this evening for its first reading, and we'll have a public hearing in front of the APC on September 9th. Representatives from Nelson and Frankenberger and the petitioner are here this evening to provide any additional introductory items of the petition, although I will say they probably will not be too many more details to provide. But thank you.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Rick Lawrence. I'm with Nelson and Frankenberger with offices in Carmel, Indiana. With me tonight are members of the development team. I'm here on behalf of Wedgwood Building Company. They are seeking to this site here on 161st Street. It's about a half a mile east of its intersection with Town Road. This 1.88 acre parcel, as Ryan had indicated, was part of the Westchester PUD. It was open space. It was never part of the golf course. The intent is to remove it from the Westchester PUD as open space and allow for the construction of a single-family home, meeting all the setbacks and other easement requirements that staff and others at the city have pointed out. Pretty simple request. I'm here for any questions, and then we'll go to the Planning Commission on September 9th, and we have a neighborhood meeting on September 2nd that you should have received an email about today.
Any questions or comments this evening?
Who owns all the golf balls that go in the ponds?
Your son can get them. See no other questions this evening. We look forward to working through a quick process, I would anticipate, with this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next order of business is ordinance 2649, which is the Grassy Branch at Bridgewater PUD amendment. Mr. Collingwood.
Thank you, President. Council members, again, for the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. This item being introduced this evening for its first reading is the amendment to the Grassy Branch at Bridgewater PUD. The subject real estate associated with this amendment will encompass about 8.3 acres and is generally located immediately west of the intersection at Cary Road and Club Estates Drive seen on the screen. The PUD request outlines the allowance of a 4-lot subdivision within Lot 1 of the Grassy Branch at Bridgewater neighborhood. The original PUD depicted Lot 1's development as an estate-style residence or an equestrian-style use, with no development occurring to align with the original contemplation of those uses. This petition is in front of the City Council this evening for its first reading, and we'll have a public hearing at the APC's September 9th meeting, similar to the last item. Probably not too much more to add, but representatives from Nelson and Frankenberger and the petitioner are here this evening to provide any other introductory elements. Thank you.
Good evening. Again, Rick Lawrence with Nelson and Frankenberger. I'm here on behalf of Wedgwood Building Company. We're here to present an amendment to the Grassy Branch at Bridgewater PUD to allow this parcel that's shown on the screen, outlined in yellow. As Ryan had indicated, it's along Grassy Branch, and here's 151st Street, so it gives a better location where it's at. Here's the site, as Ryan had indicated, and this is the overall plan to turn this one lot into 4 different lots, with this area that's under the cursor to be donated to open space for the neighborhood that currently exists there. There would be a dual driveway off of Grassy Branch, and then 2 entrances off of the entrance there. Same as before, September 9th, public hearing with the Planning Commission, and also September 2nd neighborhood meeting, which you were emailed about today. Happy to answer any other questions, otherwise short and sweet.
Thank you. Any questions or comments this evening?
Will this be incorporated in the Bridgewater, or will it be just kind of a standalone development?
It's not, it's Grassy Branch, not Bridgewater.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I think he's asking
Grassy
because
Branch at
Grassy Branch
Bridgewater.
is incorporated into the Bridgewater Club, where I believe the lots do fall into the Bridgewater
They're in
Club.
the master, and then they're in the sub of the Grassy Branch HOA. And there's
Okay.
been discussions with both HOAs about incorporating this into there.
Okay, thanks.
See no other questions this evening. We'll move on to ordinance 2651, the North Point PUD amendment for the Shops District. Ryan, you doing this one, or?
Helping John out with the
Oh, is it?
flash drive here.
Okay.
All right, as Ryan's pulling it up, good evening, council. For the record, Kevin Todd with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening for introduction is the 6th Amendment to the North Point PUD. And in this case, the amendment is only relative to the Shops District of the PUD, which is located at the southeast corner of State Road 38 and East Street. The property is approximately 6.7 acres in size, and it effectively defaults to the local business zoning district standards of the Unified Development Ordinance. The amendment proposes to add one permitted use to the property, and that is a gasoline service station, while also providing a concept plan and architectural elevation benchmarks for the entire development, neither of which exist in the current North Point PUD for this sub-area. So in addition to some uses permitted by right through LB underlying zoning, sorry, I lost my place. Yes, so there are also some additional prohibited uses that this PUD will also address. This item will have its public hearing at the September 9th Plan Commission meeting. John Dobashewitz with Nelson and Frankenberger is here to present additional details.
Thank you, Kevin, and good evening. For the record, my name is John Dobashewitz. I'm a land use professional with the law firm of Nelson & Frankenberger. We represent the applicant, Westfield Petroleum LLC. Jennifer Seacon is here tonight on behalf of the applicant. Jim Shinneman, attorney with our office, is also present along with the other members of our development team. Mr. Badger, for one, he signed in thinking that he needed to make record of his appearance tonight, and we advised him that we didn't, but he's here this evening. If he speaks, it'll only be because I asked him a question. The real estate is currently zoned, as Kevin indicated, as part of the North Point Plan Unit Development District. Is identified as a shops designation. So all the things that we're showing in this evening are uses that are contemplated under the existing PUD with the exception of the fuel station component. Rather than taking away from office or industrial areas, this area, as I indicated, all of it is designated for those commercial uses. The approval of the fuel station would further benefit and support the surrounding uses for providing that additional element for those surrounding business uses. The text amendment approval will allow for the development of a neighborhood-scale retail area to be anchored by a well-designed modern convenience store, including full-service fresh food kitchen and integral fuel services. Today, fuel sales are not among those uses that are authorized. In addition to asking for authorization for the fuel sales use, staff indicated that there were certain uses that are otherwise permitted today, and the petitioner has agreed to exclude those and make those prohibited, so those would not occur on the real estate that are otherwise allowed to be developed today. This is the proposed site plan. As staff indicated, there is no site plan for the development of the real estate under the current PUD. This would be a concept plan, and substantial compliance with the concept plan would be required. As you can see, the fuel pumps are integral and internally located behind the convenience store for an improved aesthetic. So if you see the cursor on the screen, this represents State Road 38. I know it's not at a true north to south on the page. State Road 38, East Street. This is the convenience store building, and the fuel pumps are located internal to the site. The C-store will be a single tenant. That was another component that was important to staff. They didn't want to see a multi-tenant example where there might be a Subway or something like that inside. They wanted to see something that had integral single-tenant food service uses as well as the fuel sales, and that's been agreed to by the petitioner. Driving eastbound on State Road 38 from 31, if you can picture that, the interchange, the subject site is perhaps the only viable location for a gas station, since the other areas to the south side of 38 are encumbered by flood zone, and then we have McGregor Park on the north side, but further removed to the west from the subject real estate. The subject real estate, as I indicated, is already zoned for retail and service uses, and additionally, a significant new commercial, including the community hospital, is under development in the area, which will support the need for nearby fuel service, as well as other convenience offerings in addition to those businesses that are developing this evening. In fact, I think one of those was Patch Development's building to the south of us that's just about ready to open within that quadrant of the community. The neighborhood retailing buildings will include a unified architectural design theme. This represents those, and I've got a couple other illustrations of the proposed buildings that would require substantial compliance. With those, we continue to work with staff on the design of those buildings and provided specific elevations. Much of what the petitioner talked with early on and is represented here are AI-developed imagery. Those will be replaced by definitive architectural elevations that show the materials. We've also been advised by staff that window signs were a concern, and windows facing the outward area of the development were a concern. Those will be blacked out. There wouldn't be window signs on those windows that faced East Street or Grassy Branch coming up, or State Road 38. Wall signs or window signs would be internal to the site, so that it would present an appearance that I'll show you here momentarily. This is an example. On the top would be the fuel center. Again, this is the south side of the building away from 38. Positioning of the fuel pumps in that manner is going to screen them from State Road 38, as well as the residential on the north side of 38, where there's a little more light involved in the fuel station component. The building represented on the south side is that multi-tenant building. That's the appearance that you'll see from all four sides of the building. This isn't just the front of the building towards the parking field, but what was asked, and the petitioner is agreeable to, is those windows that you see facing there, those that aren't vision windows into public space. So if you have a situation where there's like a storage closet or other things like that, those will be blacked out. They won't include window signs. Only signs that would face exterior to the site would be wall signs advertising individual tenants in a multi-tenant building. And finally, the applicant will continue to work with staff to revise those elevations. We'll present those to the Plan Commission. Anticipate being back in front of the council perhaps in November at the conclusion of the Plan Commission process. We do have a neighborhood meeting scheduled. That meeting is scheduled for August 26th, this upcoming Wednesday. And then following that, of course, on September the 9th, we'll have our public hearing in front of the Plan Commission. After that, we go through about a 6-week review process based on all the comments that are provided from council, as well as Plan Commission and the public. We return back to the Plan Commission with revised plans, and then potentially, depending on their schedule, we would return back to the council, as I indicated at your meeting in November, for adoption consideration. With that, I'll conclude. Be glad to go over any additional questions you have before we advance to Plan Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comments, Councilor McCarty?
I just had two, because I know I'll get this question in particular. Is there a brand associated with it yet?
There is Shell.
Shell, okay. Write that down, Shell. And then second, over the years that I've been on Planning Commission and now Council, majority of the fuel centers, gas stations that we have seen have been on consent agendas. So this is a unique opportunity for us to maybe, add some things, tweak some things. And I know one piece of feedback I often hear from residents is, hey, we don't really have an EV infrastructure. So that would just be a question of mine, if that could be under consideration to add some stations here. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I know the concept plan's probably more showing exactly what you're going to do, but the 3D, the top one, I don't know if that shows like a drive behind the gas station, but the concept plan doesn't show. I'm guessing that's just a rendering and
it's an AI anomaly. It'll be corrected with the new illustration.
Gotcha. And then the other thing I have kind of going along those lines, the side, the northern side that's going to be facing 38. I don't know if like in the PUD or architecture or standards we can put like a certain amount of windows on that side, because I know I've seen when we do gas stations it's just a brick wall and it doesn't look good. So if we can somehow incorporate that it has some windows on that side, or? I mean,
We'll incorporate
just
all
not a
4
brick.
elevations of the dwelling, and it'll be similarly detailed to the side that you see here, except there likely wouldn't be a public entrance on that side of the building.
Yeah, for sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think Councilor Herron's comment is a great one. Having four-sided architecture there is going to be pretty important, and also making sure they're either blacked out, because that will be, I would assume, storage areas or inventory areas and so forth, just having it blacked out so we're not
Yeah.
looking at that.
We've made that mistake before on Spring Mill and 164.
Well aware. Well aware. We haven't done it.
No, yeah, Scott, the mayor did when he was done. I'm just kidding.
I know nothing. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Mr. Badger.
I do have one thing to add. We are currently working with Hamilton County Surveyor's Office to be able to get, one of the things you don't see is a big ditch, and there is a big ditch out there right now. So we'd like to extend that into a culvert section that runs through there and be able to put sidewalk through there, so it would make it look, you wouldn't really want to make it a real inviting building and then have a big ditch in front of it. So what we're trying to do is incorporate, very similar to like Old Town, people being able to use this facility by walking or biking.
Well, it's a very interesting area with McGregor Park and some other just natural amenities in that area too. So we appreciate you thinking about that as well.
And if you guys, I'll just add, when we looked at this project, you know, we constantly look around our sister cities and other communities to find, hey, how did they pull things off like this? There's a really good example if you want to see this or anybody listening in. If you drive, I believe it's officially in Carmel off of 146th Street and River Road. If you look at the south western corner, you're going to see something very similar to this. That was kind of the model we used to be able to pull off a gas station that we think we're trying to get that to the exterior of the city, and this is a great location for that, but also bring in some amenities that will really benefit North Point, because that is some feedback we've been given is there's no place for our employees to go and eat without bringing in more restaurants like drive-through, like another McDonald's. So we were very thoughtful in this. If you want to get a feel for what it's going to look like, and if you want to use what you see there to critique this and make this better or make changes, that'd be a great way to start.
It's actually a good example. I'm very familiar with that area.
And John, this is not proposed to be like a truck stop or trucks coming in here with rigs and everything set up.
Correct. It would be fueling that excluded that type of fueling.
Any other questions or comments this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to ordinance 2652, which is the Hidden Oaks PUD. Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, thank you, President, members of the council. For the record, Weston Rogers with the Community Development Department. So this evening, the item being presented before you is the Hidden Oaks PUD. I went ahead and pulled together a few slides just to briefly present this item to council before we turn it over to the Lang family and the development team to provide a more in-depth presentation. So I'm going to cover project location, concept map, district framework, a few key components, and then next steps for the process. So just to start off, the project is roughly 497 acres in size. It's located southeast of the intersection at Centennial Road and State Road 32. It's also west of the intersection at Little Eagle Creek Avenue and 166th Street. You can see the comprehensive plan here on the screen. There is a variety of pretty wide array of future land uses and place types around this property. Those range from a state rural and equestrian to the Innovation District on the County Line Road to trail-oriented development just to the east, Village Center and Julietteville, industrial and community institutional to the north. This area is designated as an agri-hood place type. That's primarily defined as a well-planned community that integrates a working farm, preservation, and agrarian components with a variety of residential uses. Next slide, just wanted to briefly cover the concept plan. As I mentioned, the development team will go into this in further detail. But the concept plan is on the left. This plan is proposed to be divided into a few different sub-districts, as you see on the screen here. Those would include the the Grove, the Village, the Overlook, the Reserve, the Bluffs, and the Garden Commercial up on State Road 32. Each of these districts will have their distinct architectural and site development standards and land uses associated with them. I briefly wanted to cover just some general circulation on the property. So the vehicular circulation, primary vehicular circulation, I should say, is highlighted in orange here. State Road 32 to the north, Centennial north-south that tees into 166, and then Shelbourne extending to the south. Primary pedestrian circulation, we do have a few named trails that traverse this neighborhood. The first being the Midland Trace Trail, which goes east-west on the northern half of the neighborhood, and the Little Eagle Creek Trail, which will traverse north-south throughout the neighborhood. Also wanted to cover just a few key elements, as I mentioned. This is an agri-hood, and the variety of elements that you see here really play into that place type. So the pasture to the north, 18 acres, the greenway, the north canopy, which is a tree preservation area on the plan, which is roughly 35 acres. The amenity center and the confluence, those are located more in the heart of the community. Both of those being, the amenity center being about 3.5 acres and the confluence being just under 1 acre. The farmstead is 20 acres in size. That includes a fishing pond and an actual working farm that's on the banks of the Little Eagle Creek. And also to the south, we have the south canopy, which is roughly 22 acres of additional preservation as well. So just wanted to highlight a few of these key elements. The development team will go into this in much more detail as we move on. And also, as we're looking at these exhibits, it can be difficult sometimes to understand scale. So for example, this south canopy here, if we compare that to downtown Westfield, this stretches from where we're at today at City Hall roughly all the way to French Church. So this is that 22-acre preservation area on the south side of the property. So just wanted to help share some context of the size of this project and the elements as they relate to common areas that we know throughout the community. Just wrapping up a quick overview, it's just under 500 acres, just under 200 acres of open space, 60 acres, which of that are tree preservation. There is a maximum unit count listed there as well, so single-family detached, 800. Attached dwellings, which would include townhomes, would be 200, and then for multifamily, would be 280 units, and that is located in that village node here in the heart of the community. So together, these elements are really just woven throughout the community to create a walkable environment, a connected environment that is all focused around that agri-hood place type. So with that, the next steps for this project, we have the public hearing scheduled for September 9th, and then we have the Advisory Plan Commission workshop scheduled for October 19th. With that, I'll turn it over to the Lang family and the development team to give the in-depth presentation on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Weston. Good evening. My name is Susie Dernlin. I'm the trustee of the Lang Family Farm Trust, which consists of myself, my sister Kathy, who is here tonight, and my brother Bill. I wanted to provide a brief history of our family before we present this plan to you, so you would understand a little bit more about us. My parents were Jay and Eleanor Lang, and when we received this property from them, we really wanted to honor their memory and their legacy through this project. Just so a brief history, my parents are both from Indiana. My mother was raised in Bedford, my father in Indianapolis, and later in West Lafayette. They both met at IU, but all of their kids went to Purdue, so we are a house divided. Our parents' values, like others who were raised during the Great Depression and the war years, included high moral standards, personal responsibility, a strong work ethic, education, community service, and respecting nature. Our family moved to Carmel in 1970 to a home on 12 wooded acres surrounded by farmland. My dad embraced the country life, calling himself a gentleman farmer. He spent countless hours in the yard on an antique tractor that had been given to him by a friend, and we always had a big garden, a pumpkin patch, we had a compost pile, we chopped wood, and even raised a few steers and some chickens with limited success, I might add. I even had an egg route. Our vacations were usually spent camping across the country, visiting national parks, and enjoying the beauty of nature in other areas of the country. And as kids, we also enjoyed 4-H, but there was always a focus on maximum usefulness and minimum waste in the way we conducted our family life. My parents believed in financial responsibility and instilled those values in their children. My father worked long hours, and my mother was active in community service while raising 4 children. They did have hardship when my oldest brother died at the age of 7 to cystic fibrosis, and he was treated at Riley Children's Hospital, and my parents received financial grace from the hospital because my father was still in school, and it was a financial hardship. However, later, my parents were grateful to be able to give back to the hospital and provide assistance to other families who were going through similar situations with their own children. My father was also a savvy and patient investor. In the 80s, his strategy was to buy farmland in Hamilton County and then wait until the development reached the point where it was ready to be developed. So it required a lot of patience because it often took 20 years or more. But during that time, he enjoyed getting to know the farmers and had a high respect for them and enjoyed those relationships as the farm was leased. And the last priority for my family was education. It was highly valued by both parents. However, my father was not a very good student and ultimately recognized that education was the key to his success. So he eventually was able to become a physician through the opportunities provided him by others. But over the years, my parents, with their educational focus, provided many scholarships around the area. The most significant scholarship was in a major endowment with the Central Indiana Community Foundation, you may know as CICF, and it's a scholarship called Reach Your Potential, which has provided university and vocational students, hundreds of them, opportunities, especially those who may face an unexpected setback in achieving their potential. So fast forwarding to today, I believe that the city's vision for the agri-hood designed by Weston and the city planners is a beautiful fit in honoring the legacy of my parents, both by focusing on preserving the green space, the wooded areas, and by providing extensive trail systems and for bikes and hiking, and also by providing hands-on educational opportunities through the agri-park in partnership with the community to preserve Westfield's agrarian heritage and priorities. So thank you for your time. I would like to turn it over to Phil Sunderling, who will be presenting the plan.
Well, thank you, Susie. That was wonderful. Good evening, members of the council. For the record, my name is Phil Sunling, and I am with the Lore Development Group, representing the Lang Family Farm Trust. As the lead development consultant on this world-class project, I'd like to start with a brief introduction of our team. First, of course, we have Susie Dernlin, along with her sister, Kathy Bain, both of whom are representing the trust, who is the petitioner on this project. On our team, but not in attendance tonight, is Matt Skelton with Church, Hiddle, and Antrim, and here with us this evening are both Jim Shinover and John Dobby-Shaywitz with Nelson and Frankenberger. They are our land use professionals on the project. I know Weston covered some of this, so I'll be brief with this slide, but we've got a total of about 497 acres. We are generally located south of State Road 32, west of Town Road Crossing Development, and west of Little Eagle Creek, and we don't quite hit Joliet Road to the west. We feel that this development will be the gateway, the western gateway to the city of Westfield from Boone County, and because of that, we think it's very important to sort of set the tone in terms of the quality for new development here in Westfield. We are planning to develop a master planned, agrarian-focused, mixed-use community that emphasizes preservation, pedestrian connectivity, and an outdoor lifestyle. Hidden Oaks will incorporate an extensive amenity package, which we'll cover more in detail here shortly. One of the benefits of developing nearly 500 acres as a single cohesive master plan community is that it allows us to deliver amenities at a scale and quality that would not otherwise be possible, and really create something truly unique and special for Westfield. As any thoughtful developer would do, we studied other successful communities throughout Hamilton County, including the Village of West Clay and Jackson's Grant, and we identified certain elements that worked well in each of these. We'll start with the Village of West Clay. This is one of the most iconic communities really in all of Hamilton County, let alone Indiana or the Midwest for that matter. The property covers over 750 acres, so it's a little larger than what we've got at Hidden Oaks. It's got multiple different neighborhoods. It's got different product types. It is highly densified, far higher than what we envision at Hidden Oaks. But most importantly, it's got a village area that's super vibrant, and it's incredibly well done for those of you that have been there before. They've got single-family detached and single-family attached. They've got multifamily, commercial, mixed use within this village area. And then beyond that, the pedestrian network at West Clay is incredibly extensive. There are trails throughout and throughout all the community that kind of tie all their little pocket neighborhoods into the village. Next is Jackson's Grant, another master plan development in Carmel. What we love about Jackson's Grant is their use of the legal drain and floodplain along the Williams Creek. I think they've done a masterful job at incorporating detention ponds, wetlands, preservation areas, and really a complete trail system along that same corridor. And what they really did was turn a constraint into an opportunity. And we've got a similar situation on the northwest portion of our site. That, you know, rather than have it look like a standard stormwater utility corridor, instead we're planning to carry similar elements from Jackson's Grant into ours, and we're calling this area the Greenway. And again, we'll go through those details here shortly. And with that, we'll dive into our updated site plan, which has gone through a couple different refinements over the past few months. And of course, it'll continue to evolve as we progress through the process and meet with neighbors and staff and so forth. Again, just under 500 acres. The project currently includes 717 single-family homes, 260 multifamily units, 84 single-family attached or townhome units, and approximately 40,000 square feet of commercial space, which is about a quarter of what you see at Village of West Clay. As a result of initial feedback we've already received on this project, I think it's important to point out that the 84 attached units represent almost a 50% reduction from where we even started a few weeks back. So we've received initial feedback recently expressing a further desire for additional custom homes along with greater builder diversity. We are actively working through those changes now, and we look forward to updating you all in the coming weeks as those are incorporated into our plan. Further, we've received feedback from a few of the direct neighboring property owners and plan to incorporate certain adjustments into this plan along with commitments based on those discussions. These requests relate to buffering and lighting in particular. Our goal is to have all these changes incorporated in advance of our APC hearing and certainly before we're back in front of you all. As Weston noted, within Hidden Oaks, we currently plan to create six distinct neighborhoods, each with its own character, amenities, and housing options. Just like the Village of West Clay and Jackson's Grant, the community will feature multiple builders and a diverse range of housing style and home and price points. Before getting into the details of each sub-area, I first want to kind of walk through the agrarian elements that Weston alluded to earlier. These are really the defining features that distinguish Hidden Oaks. They're not simply amenities added just to check a box. You know, they're foundational to how we've designed the entire community, which is focused on preservation and connectivity and an active outdoor agrarian lifestyle. And together with these elements, they encompass more than a quarter of the entire property, demonstrating just how central they are to our vision here at Hidden Oaks. We'll start with the pasture, which is located at the north end of the development along the main drive into Hidden Oaks from State Road 32. We are envisioning a small working barn in this area, which will house a couple of horses or potentially other animals. We really want this area to be a memorable part of the community and something that kind of reinforces the rural and agricultural character of Hidden Oaks. The pasture would be owned and professionally maintained as a community amenity through the HOA or as part of a public trail system, which I'll kind of walk you through later in the presentation. In either scenario, the care and the management of the horses would be handled by qualified professionals. This would be a very small-scale, professionally managed amenity, certainly not something like a commercial boarding operation. It's primarily visual, memorable, and unique to the character of the community. Next is the Greenway, which I mentioned earlier. This is a 35-acre green space and pond network located on the northwestern portion of the site. This is one of the signature placemaking components of the entire development and something we're intentionally, again, drawing inspiration from Jackson's grant. The Greenway will incorporate naturalized detention ponds, wetland plantings, native grasses, and wildflower areas, all of which will be designed to create kind of a natural and immersive experience. The corridor will also feature multi-use paths with boardwalks at key locations, along with benches and seating areas thoughtfully placed to take advantage of some of the best views of the Greenway. Next is the North Canopy. This is a roughly 35-acre tree preservation area. It will include a major pedestrian connection linking the Midland Trace Trail to the village, which is our community hub, and I'll kind of walk you through those details here shortly. The goal here is to preserve and showcase the mature trees that already exist on the property. A trail system will wind through the development and eventually connect to the Little Eagle Creek. And along the way, we will incorporate sort of a natural arboretum. It will identify notable native trees with interpretive signage describing the species, the estimated age, kind of the ecological importance, and any other unique characteristics. Likewise, the South Canopy is a roughly 22-acre preservation area similar to the North Canopy, but it's got a much different character and topography. This portion of the site has a lot more grade change, and there's a natural stream that kind of runs through this portion of the site. The South Canopy will bookend the southern portion of our trail network and incorporate the same natural arboretum features as I mentioned in North Canopy. Between the pasture, the North Canopy, the South Canopy, and the Greenway, we are preserving more than 60 acres of trees on the property, which represents over 12% of the entire property. And I think that's just a great example of the Lang family's commitment to being good stewards of the land, just as their father would have been, as Susie mentioned. These folks have been very intentional about developing the property in the right way, and I think you'll see that continue throughout the presentation tonight. Let me go to the next slide. To kind of go on with what Weston mentioned earlier, this kind of takes it a step further. I put the 60 acres of preservation, which we're planning at Hidden Oaks, into the downtown Westfield area on this exhibit. And just for perspective, that area is equivalent to roughly 10 Grand Junction plazas. It's a substantial amount of property, and I think just, again, reinforces how significant preservation is for these folks. The last major agrarian component is the farmstead, which is another 20-acre park located within Hidden Oaks. At the heart of the farmstead will be a 6.2-acre working farm, along with an area for community garden plots that we envision being available to both Hidden Oaks residents along with the broader public. The park will include a roughly 6-acre pond, which will stock with fish and open it up to recreational fishing. We also are planning a covered fishing pier along this pond. A barn structure will serve as another focal point within the park. It will include restrooms to support the different uses throughout the area. And from an access standpoint, we are planning 2 parking areas, one on the north end and one on the south end, so the park can be easily accessed. The trail network will also run directly through the farmstead and ultimately connect down to the creek, tying the park into the larger trail and pedestrian network. And lastly, we are actively working with the city on the possibility of making the farmstead, along with the other major agrarian components within Hidden Oaks, part of a broader public park system. Those conversations are ongoing, and we hope to be able to share a little bit more of those details in the future. In all, the development includes almost 200 acres of open space, which represents nearly 40% of the entire property. I think that's just an incredible stat. I think that's probably pretty rare. That open space is not simply leftover land. As you've seen, it's intentionally woven throughout the community through preserved forested areas, greenways, trails, pastures, agricultural areas, and general gathering spaces. And that's really what the heart of an agri-hood is. It's a community where the land, the agriculture, recreation, and daily life are all kind of interconnected. Next is the pedestrian network. Hidden Oaks will include more than 5 miles of multi-use paths woven throughout each of the different neighborhoods, ultimately all connecting back to the centralized village area, which we're calling the confluence. This is similar to what you see in the Village of West Clay, where the trail and sidewalk networks all help pull different neighborhoods together and create that kind of true community feel. That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish here at Hidden Oaks. Our trail system includes segments of the Midland Trace Trail, along with the Little Eagle Creek Trail, and we've worked extensively with both Weston and Chris McConnell to position and locate these trails so they are ready for connectivity with future adjacent developments and will benefit all of Westfield's residents. Beyond the main trails, each neighborhood will each have its own localized sidewalk network that connects into the larger system. The goal, again, is to make everything easy and natural for residents to walk or bike from their home to any of the amenity areas and open spaces without having to hop in a vehicle. Additionally, because the property encompasses part of the Midland Trace Trail corridor and interconnects with the Little Eagle Creek Trail, we have, again, coordinated with Chris to set aside some ground for a future trailhead within the community. Similar to other trailheads in Westfield, this would include vehicular parking, a bike maintenance station, public restrooms, and plenty of seating areas for folks to meet and rest. And because there are still some gaps in the Midland Trace Trail east of our property, we've discussed the timing of this trailhead with Chris, and we all agree that those connections need to be made first before this trailhead becomes viable. So with that, we're simply setting aside the ground and dedicating the property to the city on the front end. We're also planning a handful of what we're calling minor trailheads. These will be sprinkled in strategic locations throughout the community, including some of the higher profile areas that we know will be getting lots of pedestrian traffic. They'll be really simple, maybe a small pavilion with benches and bike parking, an enhanced landscaping package. Again, one of our goals here is to get folks outside. And these simple spaces are a great way for residents and kids to meet up and enjoy the outdoors. In addition to all that I just went through, the trail system and the extensive agrarian components of the project, one of the real advantages, again, of assembling this much acreage is that we're able to create a highly amenitized community with a much more extensive community amenity package than what you'd typically see in a smaller neighborhood. Our plan includes both indoor and outdoor pickleball courts, community pools, fire pits, a dog park, multiple community gardens, and large fields for recreational play. We're also planning a one-of-a-kind wiffle ball field, which I'll walk you through here shortly. Altogether, the goal is to provide a really broad mix of amenities that appeal to different ages and interests and give residents plenty of opportunities to get outside, interact, and enjoy the community. At the heart of the amenity area, we're planning a roughly 7,000 square foot clubhouse, which will include a fitness center, flexible gathering and event spaces, a kitchen, coffee bar, maybe a multi-purpose room that can accommodate everything from a fitness class to resident clubs and meetings. The clubhouse building will also open directly into the outdoor amenity area with the pools, patios, and fire pits and gathering spaces, really allowing it to function as sort of an indoor-outdoor extension of the community. And more than anything, we want this to be a year-round gathering place for residents and one of the primary social hubs for Hidden Oaks. Next, we're also planning not only outdoor pickleball courts, but also a pair of indoor pickleball courts, which we think will be an incredible part of the community, especially during the heat of the summer and throughout the winter. We anticipate hosting community league play, open play, and even lessons for both kids and adults. Next, probably my favorite part of the community is the wiffle ball field. I don't know of another community in Westfield or really anywhere in Hamilton County for that matter that has something like this. Kind of picture yourself driving through the community, heading south after a long work day. You look left as you kind of approach the village and you see a bunch of kids outside playing. That's how I grew up. It's what I envision here at Hidden Oaks, and I think it'll be a really special way to come home after a long work week. Other amenities beyond these will include larger scaled-up playground area for younger children, along with a dog park and plenty of open fields that could be used for recreation, informal play, or just relaxing within the community. We're also looking at incorporating a disc golf course throughout portions of the Greenway. We still need to work out those details with Hamilton County and the necessary agencies, but that's one of our goals. Again, with the focus of getting folks outdoors. And on the technical side, as with any new development in Westfield, we've spent considerable time studying the existing roadway network around the property. We've hired EMCS, a very qualified and respected traffic engineering firm, to complete a traffic study looking at the intersections that could be impacted by traffic from our community. And we've met with Westfield's engineering department on multiple occasions. Throughout that process, we've developed a roadway infrastructure plan that we feel addresses the anticipated needs around the project. And starting at the north end of the development, our plan includes a new roundabout at State Road 32 and Centennial Road. This is already designed and planned to be constructed as part of the new middle school there. And from what I've gathered, that project is supposed to start as early as this fall and no later than spring of '27. There are also turn lanes being added along the north side of State Road 32 at Mule Barn Road, which is our west entrance along the north side. As part of Hidden Oaks, we'll complement those improvements with XL and decel lanes on the south side with that connection. And then as part of our first phase, we will construct an entirely new roadway connection, which we're calling Centennial Road South. That road will extend all the way south through our community and ultimately to 166 with a new roundabout. Along 166th Street, we'll also construct another roundabout at the Bluffs Road main entrance, which is the southern part of our development. And for safety and mobility purposes, we're also planning to improve 166th Street by slightly widening the travel lanes there and adding shoulders. Also, our traffic study looked at 166th Street and Little Eagle Creek Boulevard, as well as 166 and Joliet Road, and the study determined that no additional improvements were necessary at either location as a result of our development. And lastly, Westfield Engineering is actively coordinating with the county on the widening of the Little Eagle Creek Bridge on 166, and we'll stay in tune with those conversations. For us, it's not just about accommodating traffic from Hidden Oaks. We're making extensive infrastructure investments that improve safety and connectivity and mobility really throughout the entire area. I guess briefly, I'll kind of run through these quick. I know it's been a long night for you guys. It's a 500-acre development, so bear with me. I want to acknowledge drainage because I know it's a common and understandable concern whenever a new development's proposed, especially one of this size. And as you know, Westfield has very strict standards when it comes to drainage requirements, and Hidden Oaks will be designed to comply with those standards. At the right time, our engineers will evaluate drainage patterns and design a system to properly collect, manage, and release in accordance with the county's and city standards. We met with a neighbor a few weeks ago who's already experiencing some drainage issues, and we took time to understand her concerns, and we'll make sure those are addressed throughout our development. Real quick, briefly here. Next is the preserve. This is the purely custom portion of the neighborhood, and really one of the most special and private areas within Hidden Oaks. As you enter from the north, there's not a single home for almost a half mile as you enter from State Road 32. So it'll be a beautiful winding drive entry through the equestrian area, and as you approach the preserve, we want this entrance into the neighborhood to almost feel like it's carved through the woods, almost like a golf cart path winds through a golf course. We want there to be some mystery behind it as you drive by, or as you're pulling into it. We want you to be curious about what's kind of behind those trees. This area is going to be super serene, heavily wooded. It'll be very private and obviously very high-end with the custom home component. And what makes it even more unique is that many of these homes will be positioned against the preserved woods of the North Canopy with sort of a wooded background. Next is the overlook. We're calling it the overlook because it sits about 20 feet higher than the large pond to the south, giving it really nice views across the pond and toward Eagle Creek. This portion of the neighborhood will also abut the North Canopy, so there will be a strong relationship between the homes, the woods, and the open space around them. This will also be entirely single-family residential, but again, based on some feedback we received recently, we're going through what type of single family is going to exist here. And again, we'll have those changes worked out in the next couple weeks. Next is the Grove. This is another purely residential neighborhood within Hidden Oaks. It's located on the northwest area, and it's made up of both single-family and attached single-family homes. This includes a significant portion of the Greenway, which we walked through earlier. From a connectivity standpoint, the Grove will also include future connections to Jolietteville to the west, along with a secondary connection to State Road 32, giving it multiple access points and helping really distribute traffic throughout the community. The Bluffs, this is, again, entirely single-family detached product within Hidden Oaks. It's located south of 166th Street and incorporates the South Canopy, again, giving it a strong connection to a preserved woodland park. Similar to some of the other neighborhoods, the goal here was to really work with the existing landscape, preserve as much of the natural characters we could, and kind of create a neighborhood that feels distinct from the rest of the community. And lastly, we have the Village, which really, again, is envisioned as the mixed-use heart of Hidden Oaks and the primary gathering place for the entire community. The idea is to create a walkable, connected environment that brings housing and restaurants and shops and entertainment and community spaces, kind of a way that feels active and integrated within the rest of Hidden Oaks. And from a residential standpoint, the Village will include a broader mix of housing types, including higher density single-family homes, attached single-family, walk-up multifamily, mixed-use buildings, and commercial on the first floor with residential above. The goal here is to create a little more energy. We want this to be a place where residents can walk and go to dinner and grab coffee and meet friends and attend a community event or even connect directly to the trail system. From a placemaking standpoint, we really want the Village to function as a true neighborhood center, not just a commercial area within a development. Architecturally, it'll still carry the same timeless agrarian architecture that you'll see throughout all of Hidden Oaks. The Confluence, this is within the Village, and it's really intended to be the central gathering hub, kind of the community engine within Hidden Oaks. The idea is that it becomes a place where people come together, where we'll host organized events or have family meetings. It's a place that's going to be super active, comfortable, and very welcoming. It's less about one specific amenity and more about creating a place that brings the community together on a regular basis and becomes kind of the identity of Hidden Oaks. One of the signature pieces of the Confluence will be a roughly 3,000 square foot barn structure. We envision it being designed so that on certain days, the large doors on the front can be opened. And as you travel south through the Village, you'll be able to see directly through the barn and into the beautifully landscaped raised garden beds. There will be seating throughout the area. We also want this to be a place where families can grab a cooler, meet at the silo bar, which is really just a simple gathering concept that you see there on the top right. You could bring the kids, meet up with neighbors, spend time together again. Nothing necessarily has to be programmed. It's just an encouraging space for families to gather, or people to gather. And then when we do have program events, this becomes the natural setting for places like a farmer's market, harvest events, and community dinners, family reunions, team parties, or other neighborhood gatherings. And as for next steps, we'll continue meeting with neighbors. I've got 2 meetings tomorrow. We also have the neighborhood meeting scheduled for next Tuesday evening. I think it's the 1st. And based on feedback from staff, neighbors, and Plan Commission, and of course you all, we'll continue working diligently to finalize our plans and PUD. We really appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sundling. Any questions, comments this evening?
Yeah, just briefly. I know we'll see this at APC. Don't want to keep us here, but I appreciate that the family was involved with this. That does mean a lot. Appreciate you. I also appreciate the developer willing to collaborate with the process through the process with this so far. I do like the agri-hood place type. I advocated for the agri-hood place type to be utilized more within the comp plan. I do wish, just the reality of it, that this had been introduced, considered before Ironstone that we saw earlier in the year, just because of the bad taste that has left in my mouth. Because when we have something like this that is actually done proper in the weighting, it just blows projects like that out of the water. So although I have my concerns, such as density and drainage that we'll work through and so forth,
sure.
This is not that, and does have more care and sensitivity poured into it. So again, appreciate you see it at EPC.
Yep, thank you.
Seeing no other questions, do we have an APC update, Councilman McCarty?
All we had was Walmart.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council this evening? I have 4 quick things. The Westfield Police Department's been pretty busy lately, and I wanted a couple things that of note. We had 3 officers, Sergeant Abney, K-9 RB, Officer Robbins, K-9 Valkyrie, Officer McCarthy, and K-9 Ozzy recently compete in the Ultimate K-9 2026 K-9 Olympics. They did more than well. And that is a unit that continues to grow as well, which I'm thankful that we continue to invest there. Detective Lindsay Trin also received a national award for the Cherish Center Above and Beyond Award, National Child Advocacy Center, for her dedication, compassion, and commitment to protecting children and supporting victims. Outstanding work by them. We also had our officers graduate from the academy as well. Our fire department, while Westfield has been very fortunate, unlike many throughout the entire state of Indiana, but particularly our adjacent neighbors, our fire department participated in significant mutual aid to our friends in the south, helping them with some water rescues as well. That is a fantastic, I know we train for that regularly, and unfortunately we have to use those skills. So thank you for all of our fine work in our public safety department. But Mayor, I know you have a couple comments to make as well.
In the interest of trying to keep this moving, I didn't want to say anything in the last, but I do want to thank the Lane family for working with. It's just been a 3-year project to get to this point. 190 acres of unused preserved land. Our community's been begging for it, and they're willingly coming to the table with it. That is a significant, that's an eight-digit dollar amount that they're giving up to accommodate the vision and create something really special. So I don't know how this is going to end up, but thank you. We've never had a collaboration like this ever, and I think what you guys saw today is what happens when the city and willing residents of our community come together and try to do something special. So thank you for that. Flooding, we were blessed. I don't know how else to say it. It's like God had an umbrella over Westfield. We're the only Hamilton County city that didn't have residents displaced, didn't have a single dollar of infrastructure damage that we can tell, at least at this point. We really came out well, but we have neighbors hurting in our community. So I just want for our residents to keep them in our prayers. Thank you to Westfield Fire Department. I know, Patrick, you've already mentioned that, but we did do some runs into especially Carmel to help them. And I can tell you we have dozens and dozens of our residents in our community giving time, money, and energy to help our neighbors. And so for that, I'm thankful. To our community engagement team, they have been running ragged as always. What an incredible 5-week stretch for our city. We now have 2 international events behind us and Colts Camp. So over the last 5 weeks, it's been amazing. We have 1 more international event coming here next week. But it has been an amazing run for our city. If you'd have told residents 20 years ago that we were going to host a single international sporting event, let alone 3, I think we'd all probably tell you you're crazy. I think it's just a testament to to those that came before us. I know we love throwing rocks at them for bad development, but Grand Park is truly an amazing asset for our community. Mayor Cook and his team really took a risk to bring that to life, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor with a new set of eyes and a new vision of what we're doing around Grand Park. But it's certainly from the seeds they planted many years ago. And then lastly, State Road 32, we want to make our residents aware that finally, and I'm saying this with a huge smile on my face, this is a project, a half-mile stretch. It's going to take all 4 years of my first term to get done. And for that, it's been frustrating. But we are now moving traffic starting tomorrow. We're shifting it to the south side. So you're going to see, if you go through that corridor, please pay attention. You're going to be driving on the opposite side of the road than you have been doing, which means we're turning our attention to the north side to bring that to life. We're still a few months away from bringing that project to completion, but it is on track right now. We do expect this year for that to be done, minus some landscaping that we'll have to bring back into the spring months when planting is more favorable. But you can start to see the vision come into life, and it looks great. And with that, I will yield back my time to you all.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. We're adjourned.